Okay, so let's talk about setting up a still life. So for your next assignment, you're going to be setting up a number of objects to gather into a still life to draw. Now we're staying with contours, so you want to think a little bit still about organic forms. But here you can also start to think about like non-organic forms like the shoe, the pot, even elements of the sculpture, and the box. And kind of think about the balance between organic and non-organic. So one of the things to kind of be sort of conscious of when you're setting up a still life like this is that you want to think about like the flow of the space. So try to see if you can find something which will help you to create flow. So here I've used the tape measure as a way to sort of like use continuation to drag our eye through here. I'm also using the shoelaces to create flow and continuation, as well as like this fabric here. You want to think about different sized objects. You don't want all of the objects to be the same size, and you want to think about different types of textures. And we're not worried right now about color, and we're not worried about value. We're just worried about like the contours. So you can see like the way that I constructed the fabric. I folded the fabric like this on purpose so that there are lots of layers and lots of edges. So you really want to have lots of different types of details and lots of different types of moments in the still life where you have things to latch onto. The next thing you have to really think about is like your location. So drawing from like up here, for instance, is pretty difficult in terms of like perspective. I always suggest in the beginning of drawing one to find places that are within eye level, like this, that are going to be interesting, that you can definitely draw in terms of like the types of forms that you feel comfortable with, and something that's interesting. This type of bird's eye view is really difficult. It's actually really, really interesting, but you might not be ready yet for that challenge. I always want all of my students to challenge themselves, but I also kind of think about like the concept of like, where are you right this second? So in your drawing journey, where are you right this second? If you start off with the most challenging placement of the drawing, like the most challenging composition, will you be successful? And if you're not successful, how will that affect you? So just some things to think about. In terms of lighting, the lighting, if I turned off this light, we still have, it's really dark, of course, but that's a really directional light. Directional light is great for drawing value. It creates mood. It helps us to see dimensionality. But because we're doing contour, you don't need to think about lighting right now because you're not doing any values at all. You're only showing us like the edges. And so that's really important for us to be focusing on at this time. So you're going to set up your still life. Make sure you can leave it in a certain place because it's going to be a longer drawing. And make sure you set yourself up in a way that feels good and a way that you can sit and draw comfortably but also successfully.